Sometimes it takes only a small act of kindness to rewrite someone's destiny. And sometimes that destiny comes back around, just when you need it the most. Before we dive into this heartfelt story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, from which country or city are you watching this video? I'd love to know where my stories are being heard around the world. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon in a forgotten corner of the city where no one cared to look twice. The kind of street where cracked sidewalks told stories of abandonment and the flickering streetlights barely held their glow. On that street walked a man named Jordan Hayes. His clothes were clean but tired, his shoes worn out but stitched carefully, and in his wallet, a single crumpled dollar bill. Jordan was 27, jobless for 3 months and staying in a rundown shelter on the south side. He wasn't always this way. A year ago, he had a job fixing printers at a local office. Then the company downsized. 1 paycheck late turned into 2 months behind rent. Friends stopped answering his calls, and life quickly turned into a quiet war he fought alone. That day, Jordan hadn't eaten properly in 2 days. He passed by a corner store just as a little girl and her mother stepped outside. The mother looked flustered, checking her purse in the rain, while the girl, no older than 7, stared longingly at the colorful candy inside the store's glass counter. "I told you, Maya, we can't." "I'm sorry," the woman said softly, pushing wet hair from her daughter's forehead. Jordan watched. He didn't know why, but something tugged at him. Maybe it was the girl's oversized pink coat that reminded him of his little sister back when they still lived with their mom. Or maybe it was because he knew what it felt like to want something so small, something sweet, and not be able to have it. Without thinking much, he walked inside, grabbed a small chocolate bar and 2 lollipops, and put his last dollar on the counter. The cashier raised an eyebrow but said nothing. When Jordan stepped back outside, he knelt down and held out the candy to the little girl. "Here," he said with a smile. "This one's for you." The little girl's eyes lit up. She took it shyly, then looked at her mom for permission. Her mother looked confused, a little hesitant, but when she saw the kind expression on Jordan's face, she nodded. "Thank you," she said quietly. "That's very kind of you." "No worries," Jordan replied. "It's just candy." "But you bought it?" the woman asked, noticing his worn shoes and thin coat. He shrugged. "Yeah, everyone deserves something sweet on a rainy day." The mother looked at him a moment longer, as if wanting to say something else, but then she just gave a soft smile and pulled her daughter close before walking away in the rain. Jordan watched them go. He felt lighter, though he didn't know why. That night he slept on a cot at the shelter, stomach still growling, but heart strangely full. Years passed. Jordan's life didn't improve quickly. He took odd jobs, washed dishes at a diner, swept floors at a mechanic's garage, and lived paycheck to paycheck. He never complained. Life was hard, but he still believed in kindness. Even if the world had forgotten about people like him, he hadn't forgotten how to care. One morning, nearly 7 years after that rainy day, Jordan found himself in trouble. Not small trouble. Big trouble. A man had slipped in front of a construction site Jordan was working at. The company didn't have proper safety signs, but somehow Jordan's name ended up on the police report. The company denied hiring him directly. They called him a casual laborer, and when the man's family sued, Jordan was slapped with a lawsuit he couldn't afford to fight. He sat in a courtroom, wearing a borrowed jacket and nervously twisting his fingers. He had no money for a lawyer, no family to call, and no hope in sight. "Mr. Jordan Hayes?" the judge asked. "Yes, ma'am," Jordan replied softly. "Do you have legal representation?" Before Jordan could shake his head, a voice from behind said, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm his attorney." He turned in shock. A young woman, probably in her mid-20s, walked confidently to the table beside him. She wore a navy blue suit, carried a leather briefcase, and had a face that looked strangely familiar. She smiled at Jordan. "I've got this," she whispered. He was too stunned to speak. The court session proceeded. The young lawyer spoke with confidence, presenting evidence, pointing out legal technicalities, and finally revealing that the company had indeed hired Jordan without proper records to avoid taxes. She destroyed their argument piece by piece. By the time she was done, the judge not only dismissed the case against Jordan, but scolded the company for negligence. As people packed up to leave, Jordan turned to the young lawyer. I don't understand. Who are you? He asked, still dazed. The woman smiled warmly. You probably don't remember me, but I remember you. She reached into her bag and pulled out a candy wrapper. Old, wrinkled, carefully taped back together. 7 years ago, you gave a little girl some candy. It was raining. My mom and I had just left to shelter ourselves. We didn't even have $1 to spare that day. But you gave us sweetness, not just candy, kindness. Jordan's mouth parted in disbelief. You're Maya? She nodded. That chocolate bar made me believe not everyone in the world was cruel. I kept this wrapper all these years. I told myself, if a stranger could care about a little girl he didn't know, maybe I could grow up and help people too. So I studied. I worked hard. And when I saw your name on a public defense list last week, I knew I had to take the case. Jordan's eyes welled up. I didn't even remember your name, he whispered. She smiled. You didn't need to. Your kindness spoke louder. He sat down, overcome by emotion. Maya placed a hand on his shoulder. You saved me when you had nothing. Now let me help you rebuild. From that day on, everything changed. Maya helped Jordan not only with his case, but helped him get connected to programs that offered job placement and housing support. Within a few months, Jordan had a proper job again, an apartment with clean sheets, and even a small kitchen where he often cooked cheap but hearty meals. One evening, as they sat at a diner catching up, Maya looked at him and said, You know, I always wondered how someone with so little could give so much. Jordan smiled, sipping his coffee. Because I knew what it felt like to have nothing, and I never wanted someone else to feel it. Maya nodded. Well, now you've got something, and you'll never be alone again. Years later, when Jordan opened a small bookstore cafe, something he always dreamed of, he named it The Last Dollar, and on one wall, framed under glass, hung a faded candy wrapper with the words, Kindness never goes unnoticed, and Maya. She remained his lawyer, his friend, and eventually something more, because sometimes giving away your last dollar isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of a beautiful story you never saw coming.